Our top stories tonight, the SABC's Hlaudi in hot water again, this time over a deal in which he allegedly gained millions. Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu's endorsement of euthanasia puts a sister dying under the spotlight once again. eNews Direct Weekend Edition, good evening.
You can comment on any of our stories by following us on Facebook and Twitter at eNews Direct.
Or you can check our content on our website eNCA.com/direct. More woes for the SABC's Group Executive for Corporate Affairs. The Congress of the People has laid a criminal charge against Hlaudi. The party says information supplied by the SABC board last Wednesday has revealed details of improper conduct by Motsoeneng. The board made a presentation to the Communication Portfolio Committee in Parliament. COPE says it's emerged that Motsoeneng improperly disposed of the SABC's archives. The party says he sold this key state asset to MultiChoice without the authorization of the SABC board. COPE claims the transaction was not within his powers as then Chief Operating Officer and says he ignored legal advice from a board member. The party also alleges Motsoeneng received a commission of over 11 million rand for the deal.
All right, cool.
Assisted dying is illegal in South Africa, but a landmark 2015 ruling, the High Court granted a terminally ill man the right to an assisted death. Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu, who has been in and out of hospital in recent months, has now asked for the right to die on his own terms.
In 2014, Mario Ambrosini's decision to end his life sparked debate over assisted death. An IFP MP, Ambrosini was in the final stages of lung cancer and said he didn't want to prolong his suffering and that of his family. Last year, the North Gauteng High Court set a precedent when Robin Stransom Ford was granted permission to end his life with the assistance of a doctor. Stransom Ford died a few hours before the order was handed down. Both government and the Health Professions Council of South Africa opposed the application. Pediatric neuropsychologist Avron Moss also petitioned for the right to end his own life. He was diagnosed with melanoma. He kept a video diary to help lawmakers understand his choice.
Well, I'd like the judge to know that I'm not depressed, and I have a psychiatrist was here yesterday, and he assessed me, and he's written a report to that effect. So I'm not psychiatric. I don't have a psychiatric diagnosis that I'm deluded or depressed or not in my own mind.
Moss ordered a lethal cocktail from abroad to help him die.
The law is not allowing me to have a medical practitioner by my side when a medical practitioner could really, really help to relieve my suffering.
In the end, Moss administered the cocktail intravenously himself. Moments later, he died. Tutu's pleas for the right to an assisted death have once again revived the debate. The Constitution guarantees the right to life with dignity, but will it allow the terminally ill to end their lives on their own terms instead of waiting on death's door?
Public Protector Thuli Madonsela has told the Bapo Bamogale community in Bapong near Brits that her office will deliver a final forensic audit report by the end of the year. The community asked Madonsela to probe allegations that community resources have been systematically looted to the tune of hundreds of millions of rand.
Thuli Madonsela presented a gloomy picture of the community's finances. She said the last time the books were audited was in 1991. She said over 20 years the money grew to 617 million rand, but that the current balance does not reflect that.
The preliminary information shows that there was that 40 million that came in, and the CEO advises that further to that 40 million from your investments, you've now received a further 40 million, or round about another 40 million. But you have borrowed from the PIC, which is the Public Investment Corporation, over 100 million. Which means at the moment you're in debt.
Mining companies pay royalties to communities into a so-called D account when they mine on ancestral land. Madonsela was asked to look into whether royalty payments from mining company Lonman and others who mined the land were paid to the community. Residents also want to know what the money was spent on, who authorized the payments, and who benefited from the expenditure. The Bapobab Bohale also wanted to know how much was spent on the royal palace. It's emerged that nearly 3 million rand was spent on decoration alone. The Public Protector's Office has appointed an independent forensic expert to take the probe forward. Madonsela says her office already knows which individuals and companies have been paid with community money. What needs to be verified now is if the funds were actually spent on what's reflected in the books and if proper procurement processes were followed. John Bailey, Brits.
The Congress of South African Trade Unions says it's time to pile on the pressure to make sure government bans labour brokers. COSATU, together with the World Federation of Trade Unions, held a rally today. It was preceded by a march to raise awareness about issues affecting workers. The union says government took too long to respond to their demands.
40-year-old Xolani Mzonyane prepares for what's bound to be a long day. The father of 6 is taking part in the COSATU march. Mzonyane worked for Checkout Supermarket in Durban for over 13 years. He was allegedly fired for his involvement with the union.
If COSATU can help us as workers and intervene to those companies who are still oppressing the workers, they don't give the workers their opportunities, their, I can say, their freedom. Yes, to work freely, and they must have benefits.
Now Mzonyane is struggling to provide for his family. COSATU has been calling for the scrapping of labour brokers, implementing a national health scheme, and establishing a competitive minimum wage.
Government must acknowledge that we are saying enough is enough. Let's get on to radicalize our economy so that the ordinary does benefit from the economy of South Africa.
COSATU has vowed to take up the issue of workers at Checkout Supermarket and any other companies that they believe oppress workers. Tuba Vilani, Durban.
Medical aid premiums are rising yearly, much more than the inflation rate. The World Health Organization says South Africa has one of the most expensive private healthcare systems in the world. Prices are on par with that of Germany, France and the United Kingdom.
The Competition Commission is busy with a lengthy investigation into South Africa's private healthcare system. It wants to determine if costs are driven as a result of collusion in the sector. To take a look at some costs involved, eNCA received quotes from 2 of the country's biggest private care providers. For coronary bypass surgery at a Life or Netcare hospital, one would have to cough up about 300 rand per minute in theatre. The daily tariff for intensive care is between 19 and 22,000 rand, while a blood transfusion is in the region of 24,000. Bypass surgery in a private hospital will cost a patient or medical aid between 260 and 380,000 rand, and that's just the hospital costs. MedScheme say 40% of its expenses are hospital costs and 20% for specialists. It says the increasing tariffs are exorbitant and unsustainable. But not everyone agrees. South Africa's largest medical aid, Discovery, says private hospital costs are in line with international standards, while the Netcare Hospital Group says it isn't making an exorbitant profit.
Competition courts have a precedent on that. So they look at the economic cost of delivering the service, and if the markup you have on that cost is 20%, that's normal. Anything above that, they start asking questions. In the South African market, certainly as Netcare, we've made submissions to the competition inquiry on our performance above economic costs, and it's nowhere near 20%, it's single digits.
Only 16% of the population are part of a medical aid scheme. The WHO say private healthcare in the country is unaffordable for the vast majority.
For WHO, I think what we are mostly concerned of is these overlaps and spillover effects from the private sector to the affordability and accessibility of services for all South Africans, because there is only so many doctors, and so much resources devoted for healthcare, and it seems that half of the resources only used by 16% of the population.
The Competition Commission is set to release its preliminary findings in December. If it does find evidence of collusion in the private healthcare sector, those accused could face criminal charges. Carla Kutsia, Johannesburg.
Moving to international news now, where nearly 900 people are now known to have been killed when Hurricane Matthew tore through Haiti. It's expected the death toll will rise further, with some remote towns in the hardest hit areas yet to be reached. The Red Cross has launched an emergency appeal for close to $7 million to provide aid. The country is yet to recover from a devastating earthquake in 2010. As Matthew moved northward, it caused major flooding and power outages along the southeast U.S. coast. It's now made landfall in South Carolina. And U.S. Republican candidate Donald Trump has a new cloud hanging over his presidential prospects entering tomorrow's debate with Hillary Clinton. He's apologized on the internet for obscene comments in a videotape that's just emerged and angered senior members of his own party. The tape dates from 2005, when he was apparently indulging in so-called locker room talk ahead of a television appearance. In the video, Trump says you can do anything to women when you're a star, and boasts about his attempts to grope and kiss women.
I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss.
In his full apology, which appears to be his first in a campaign laced with controversial remarks, the businessman says the comments do not reflect who he is. For these stories and more, go to eNCA.com/direct or follow us on Twitter and Facebook at eNews Direct. Thanks, Benita. After the break, the future of commuting in gridlocked cities. Cape Townians focus on finding solutions to traffic congestion. Welcome back. Young people in Cape Town may soon ditch their cars to cycle or skateboard. The Mobility Indaba focuses on finding solutions to the current traffic congestion in the mother city. The event attracted both innovators and children to brainstorm creative alternative solutions for convenient travelling.
It's the future of commuting, cycling, skateboarding, and even rollerblading. Young minds experimented with new ideas on how to travel around the city at the Mobility Indaba. They hope to come up with solutions which will alleviate the traffic congestion nightmare in Cape Town.
And there are many ways to solve these problems, and there will not be one solution that is sufficient. We have during the weekend all these activities to get people excited about cycling, because that might be one of the solutions for the congestion problems.
Young people are already a step ahead, with many using skateboards to get around.
The skateboard I use to move in between the mainstream parts of transport in our city, and it gives me like physical exercise, and it gives me a chance to like experience a city like no other person who's driving in a vehicle experiences a city.
And it's all about safety in numbers.
If there are enough people on the bicycle or on skateboards on the roads, the cars will pay attention to them. We need to be aware that the roads are for everybody.
The City of Cape Town plans to implement some of the creative ideas that come out of the Indaba. Artie Narsi, Cape Town.
After the break, all your weather news with Louis.
Welcome to the Weather Centre, everyone. A broad band of cloud continued to move through the central parts of the country during the course of today, bringing showers to the area, and there were also a couple of thunderstorms for some parts of the Eastern Cape. It was a cloudy and cool day for much of the West Coast and the adjacent interior as showers were moving into the area off of the Atlantic Ocean. On Sunday, we're expecting it to be quite cloudy in KZN, along with cooler conditions, especially for the southern interior of the province, while in the north we are expecting thunderstorms to develop, and those are going to become scattered to widespread, especially around sunset. The Eastern Cape can expect a few showers during the course of Sunday morning. Things will gradually clear from the province, but it's still going to be a cold day for some areas, especially near the mountains. In the Western Cape, a slight warming expected for the western coastline, including Langebaan and Cape Town, both climbing to 20 degrees. We don't expect any further rainfall. And in the Northern Cape, it will be mostly sunny and cool on Sunday afternoon after a cold morning. All areas getting quite close to 0 degrees to start off the day. In the Western Free State, it will be clear, cool and dry, but in the eastern parts of the province, a couple of thunder showers are possible. And we're going to see a few thunderstorms as well around Zeerust and Rustenburg, while it's going to be a cooler day for Vryburg with a maximum temperature of 25. Lots of cloud cover for Limpopo. That won't stop the temperatures from getting into the upper 20s and into the 30s for most areas. A possibility for a few thunder showers, although the low veld will be dry. And we'll see thunderstorms as well on the Mpumalanga high veld and escarpment. Mkhondo, a 60% chance for thunderstorms in your area. Isolated storms, on the other hand, into Gauteng. It's still going to be a warm day in the province. Johannesburg at 27, while Pretoria climbs all the way up to 30. A look further ahead to Monday, when it's going to be dry for the country. Partly cloudy weather over the Cape provinces and slightly warmer into Cape Town. But that changes on Tuesday with the front moving through, bringing showers to the peninsula, while temperatures climb up in the north. Bombela gets to a high of 37.
Our top stories again. The SABC's Hlaudi in hot water again, this time over a deal in which he allegedly gained millions. Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu's endorsement of euthanasia puts a sister dying under the spotlight once again. That's a wrap from the eNews Direct team.
Up next in our movie slots, Journey to the Mysterious Island.
To share your views, you can send an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Or you can chat to us on Twitter and Facebook at eNews Direct.
Until tomorrow at 7, goodbye.